back to another episode of Real Talk with Us, where we dive into the topic the matter without the filter. I am Mutia, and today we are talking something that often whispered about but rarely discussed openly, promiscuity, or what some might call free and easy relationship.
That's right. I'm Yunika, and before we dive in, we want to make it clear. This isn't about judging anyone's choices. Life is complicated, and people navigate relationships in different ways. Today, we're here to listen, learn, and maybe even understand perspective we hadn't considered before.
Actually, we've got real stories from real people who've experienced this firsthand. We will explore how family, environment, and friendship play a role in shaping our views on relationship. Plus, we'll touch on how modern views on dating, marriage, and even being child-free are changing the game.
So, whether you are here because the topic affects you personally, or you are just curious, stay with us. We are going deeper today. We are married stress plummeting globally, while casual relationships are on the rise.
Right. In the US, only 28% of Gen Z adults are married compared to 48% of boomers at the same age. And in Indonesia, marriage rates have dropped 40% in just a decade. What's driving the seismic shift?
Is it the economy, the rise of dating apps, childhood trauma? We've got three incredible guests, Tuti, Nove, and Suchi, who are ready to share their raw, honest stories.
No judgment here. Just real talk about modern love, the double standard woman face, and whether hookup culture is still empowering. Let's get started.
Latihan, lu minuman keras, alkohol, dan ambil di luar nikah. Jadi ini membuat pelajar.
Our first guest is Tuti. Tuti, thank you for being here and sharing your story. A lot of times, the way we approach relationship stems from our upbringing. Can you tell us how your family life influenced your choice?
Absolutely. Growing up, my parents were physically present but emotionally distant. My dad worked at the house and my mom traveled after for business. I had everything I needed material, nice clothes, a good school. But at home, it was quiet. No one really asked, how was your day or what's on your mind? So I started seeking the attention elsewhere.
That must have been really lonely. When did you realize this was everything your relationship?
It hit me in college. I would jump from one relationship to another, thinking that if someone paid attention to me, it meant they cared. But then I feel empty again afterward. I realized I wasn't looking for love. I was looking for validation, the kind I didn't get home.
That's such an important realization. If you could go back, what would you tell your younger self?
I would say you don't have to feel that void with people who don't really see you. And if I ever become a parent, I want to be present, not just private things, but really be there, ask questions, listen, and make sure my child know their matter beyond just surface level care.
That's powerful. And what about now, as a friend or community member, how do you approach relationship differently?
Now, I try to be the person I needed back then. Someone who do notice when a friend is friendly and doesn't just say, you will be fine. But actually, she's been with them in it. A little kindness goes a long way.
Oh, no, let's talk to Suchi. Fear, pressure can be so overwhelming, especially when you're trying to fit in. Suchi, how did that play out for you?
It was intense. I hated school I joined a cool group that partied a lot. At first, it felt exciting, like I finally belonged. But soon, I was skipping school, my grades dropped, and I was doing things I was not comfortable with just to stay in the group. The worst part, I know it's not, but I will thrive of being alone.
That fear or rejection is so real. What helped you break away?
Honestly, hitting rock bottom, I went a class and my friends finally nothing sometimes was wrong. But more than that, I realized I didn't even like the person I would become. I had to learn to be okay with being alone before I could make healthy choices.
That's a good lesson. How do you approach friendship now?
No, I look for friends who respect my brothers, and if I someone struggling like it, I try to remind them that their worth is not the to how much they fit in. Real friends won't make you compromise yourself.
Okay, next we have Nove. Nove, you mentioned that your surroundings played a big role in your choices. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, definitely. I grew up in a neighborhood where a lot of kids my age were into smoking, drinking, and staying out late. At first, I just observed, but over time, the pressure got to me. If I didn't join in, I was called boring or too good for them. And since my parents never really checked in on me, it was easy to sleep out boring or too good for them. And since my parents never really checked in on me, it was easy to slip into that lifestyle.
This sounds like a tough situation. When did you realize this was the path you wanted?
When I saw some of my friends drop out of school or get into serious trouble, I thought, is this really what I want to be? I took a lot of courage to step back, especially because I didn't have much support at home.
What advice would you give to someone in a similar situation now?
I would say just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean it is right for you. It's okay to walk away from what doesn't serve you. And if I ever have kids, I want to teach them critical thinking, not just to follow the crowd because it is deserved.
And as a friend, how do you support others now?
I try to be the person who says, hey, if you want to leave this situation, if got your back, change is easier when you are not alone in it.
We are seeing a big cultural shift in how people view relationships today. Hookup culture is more visible, marriage is not the main goal anymore, and some are choosing to be carefree. What are your thoughts on this?
I believe it is really about freedom. People want to find happiness on their own terms. My generation saw a lot of unhappy marriages around us and thought, no thanks. So now we are asking ourselves, why stick to a plan that doesn't promise happiness? That's where the fear of commitment comes in. For me, choosing casual relationship was a way to keep control. I could always walk away if things got complicated.
Nove, you mentioned earlier how your environment influenced you. Do you think this shift is also about healing from past trauma?
Yeah, and sometimes it is about healing. If someone grew up in a broken home, they may be scared to repeat that cycle. It's not always about not wanting love, but about protecting themselves.
And Suchi, you have been vocal about financial concern. How does that factor in?
Let's do the math. A first wedding costs 200 million rupiah. Raising kids is expensive, and some people want to focus on career or personal growth. It's okay to choose differently between housing costs and career demand. Many young people are choosing to prioritize stability or traditional milestones.
The key takeaway: respect everyone. Your journey is different, and what matters is making choices that align with yourself.
Okay. Before we move on to our discussion, let's have a drink first. Cheers!
You get that.
Regular check-up and honest conversation with partner are a must. And mentally, the therapy helped me a lot.
Self-awareness is key. If you are doing something just to numb pain, that's a red flag.
And it's okay to step back and realize your future self will thank you.
Okay, now let's talk about something uncomfortable, the double standard. A man who sleeps around might be called a player, but a woman doing the same is often called easy or worse. Why does this stigma still exist?
It's rooted in outdated ideas about purity and control. Women's sexuality has always been polished more than men's, and even in 2024, that mindset has all gone away.
Have any of you faced judgment because of your stories?
Absolutely, when rumors spread in school, guys got high five. Will I not cannot name? It's made me feel like your work this to my reputation, not why I actually was.
And it's not just me judging women. Women do it to each other too. We internalize these diseases and sometimes same as other instead of something one another.
How do we change that?
By calling it out when you see it. If a guy brags about his body count, but sends a reel from the same thing, that's hypocrisy. We have to hold everyone to the same standard.
There's a lot of debate about whether hang-out culture is liberating or damaging. Some say it's feminist, women owning their sexuality. Others argue it's just another way society pressure people into decision. What do you all think?
It can be empowering if it is truly what you want. But if you are doing it because you feel like you have to keep up or because you are afraid to real intimacy, then it is not freedom. It is just another kind of cage.
I think the problem is when people present it is always. No strings attached, emotion can sneak up on you. And if you are not honest with yourself, it can mess with your mental health too.
For me, the real question is, are you happy? If you question the relationship leave you feeling empty, then maybe it's time to ask what you're really looking for.
That's such a good point. Empowerment so mean making choice, the align with your happiness, not just following a trend.
Let's say someone listens to this and thinks, I don't want to live like this anymore. How do you shift from free and easy relationship to something more meaningful?
First, be honest with yourself. Why were you joined in the first place? Boredom, loneliness, pressure, and you start addressing your issue.
And it's okay to take a break. You don't have to jump into a serious relationship right away. Just focus on building a healthy relationship with yourself first.
Surround yourself with people who respect your choice. If your parents pressure you to keep partying and hooking up when you don't want to, maybe it is time to find new friends.
And therapy can help too. There's not some in needing guidance to unlearn all the patterns.
We asked our listeners to send in questions, and here's one. How do you come up if you are ready for a serious relationship after being yourself for so long?
When the idea of commitment excites you instead of scaring you. If you meet someone and think, I don't want to serve them with anyone else, that's a good sign.
Also, when you are not using a relationship to fill a void, if you are happy alone, you are more likely to choose a partner for the right reason.
Another question. How do you deal with regret from past relationships?
Forgive yourself. Everyone makes mistakes. What you matter is what you learn and how you grow.
This was such a meaningful confession. The biggest takeaway: remember, asking for help is a sign of strength. You're not alone.
And whatever path you choose, don't it with self-awareness, honesty, and kindness to yourself and others.
Huge thanks to Tutsi, Nove, and Suji for your courage and honesty. And to our listeners, keep questioning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep being true to yourself.
Until next time, take care of your heart, your mind, and each other. See you soon.
See you next time.